You hired an accountant, you get reports every month, and you still have no idea if you could afford to hire someone next quarter. This video is about why that keeps happening and what you actually need to do instead. I'm Philip Calderon. I run 10 Accounting, and I help service-based business owners build the financial clarity they need to lead their business with confidence. I want to tell you something I usually don't say out loud. I remember sitting in a CPA's office years ago. They were going through the numbers, checking the boxes, getting ready to file. And I kept waiting for them to tell me something useful, something I could actually do something with, and it never came. They handed me a report, told me everything looked fine, and moved on to the next client. No guidance, no direction, no partnership. I walked out thinking never again. Service owners, they deserve better than that. That moment shaped everything about how I approach this work. The bad advice, just get a good accountant. Here's what most founders are told when they start growing. Get your books in order, hire a bookkeeper, work with the CPA at tax time. And so they do. They find someone, get the books cleaned up, and start getting monthly reports. And then they ask the question that should be easy to answer. Can I afford to hire someone right now? And the accountant says, I'm not sure. That's really more of a business decision. Or they ask, is it safe to increase my owner pay this month? And the answer is, well, let me check your P&L. It looks like you're profitable. That's compliance. It solves taxes, it keeps you accurate, but it doesn't answer the questions that actually matter when you're running a business. Why this keeps happening. The accounting industry was built to serve compliance, filing correctly, meeting deadlines, keeping records, and it does that well. But founders don't lie awake worrying about compliance. They lie awake wondering if they're making the right calls. Can I grow? Am I paying myself enough? What's happening if revenue dips next month? Should I take that new client, or is the capacity not there yet? Those questions, they require something different. They require someone that understands the story behind the numbers, not just someone who records what happened. I've worked with a chiropractor who had a CPA, but was being guided completely wrong. The CPA was unresponsive, technically compliant, and absolutely useless for actual decisions. I've worked with a general contractor doing close to $2 million a year who spoke to his accountant once a year. Once a year. By the time anything came up, it was already too late to do anything about it. Clean books are not the same as clarity, and clarity is what founders actually need, what business owners actually want. When I ask founders what they want from their financial partner, I never hear I want accurate records. What I hear is I want to know what's actually happening in the business. I want to understand what the numbers are telling me. I want to know when I could hire, when I could invest, and when I could finally pay myself what I'm worth. I want someone to call when I don't know what to do. That's not a filing request. That's a request for financial leadership. And there's a massive gap between the two. Most accountants and bookkeepers, they're trained to look backwards. What happened last month, last quarter, last year? What founders need is someone that helps them look forward. What's coming, what's safe, and what needs to change before the problem shows up. The three things that are actually missing. First, interpretation. Getting a report is not the same as understanding what it means. Most founders receive financial reports they don't fully understand and can't translate into decisions. The numbers are there, the meaning is not. A real financial partner doesn't just send you reports. They walk you through what's working, what's not, and what that actually means for your next move. I had a client, a plastic surgery practice, doing $2.5 million a year. They had clean books and monthly reports. They still couldn't tell which service line was actually making the money. Everything looked the same on the surface. Once we broke it down by service, surgeries were dominating the highest margin, while other services were quietly underpriced and draining resources. The reports existed, the story was invisible. Second, forward visibility. Compliance tells you what happened, clarity tells you what's coming. When you can see the next 90 days, what cash is expected, what obligations are hitting, and what margins you're actually working with, you stop making decisions by looking in the rearview mirror. You start making them from a position of actual knowledge. That's what a forecast does. That's what a cash flow dashboard does. And that's what most founders never get from their accountant. Third, guidance. When a decision comes up, a hire, a spend, a new service line, a pay increase, founders shouldn't have to figure it out all alone. They should have someone to call who knows the business, knows the numbers, and can help them think through what makes sense. Not here's your report, but here's what I'm seeing. Here's what it means, and here's what I'd recommend you do next. That's the difference between a transactional accountant and a true financial partner. What this actually looks like. Here's what changes when founders actually have the right support. A founder came to us scared to hire, not because the business wasn't growing, It was, but she had no way of knowing if the cash could actually support it. Once we built out the budget and the forecast, she had the answer. She didn't need more revenue. She needed to see what was already there. Her message after, that cash plan gave me the confidence I actually needed. I'm not stressed, I'm not guessing, I actually feel good about it. A medical practice client was running profitable every year, but running out of cash every month. His accountant never saw a problem. The P&L looked fine. But loan payments, owner draws, and quarterly taxes were all hitting in the same 2-week window every month. And once that was visible, everything changed. Cash stabilized, and he started paying himself a market rate. The business felt manageable for the first time. An e-commerce founder wasn't sure whether to pay down debt or buy more inventory. We built out the budget, and it showed her everything she needed to know to answer her own question. Pay down debt, lower payments immediately, more breathing room. She didn't need more information. She needed the right picture. The work wasn't complicated. The information was already there. What was missing was someone who cared enough to look for the story behind the numbers. How to apply this? If you're a service-based founder doing $300K to $1 million or more, here's what to ask yourself right now. When you have a financial question, do you know who to call? Not for tax advice, for real answers about whether a decision is smart for your business right now. When you get your monthly reports, do you understand what they're telling you? Not just the numbers, the meaning behind them. Do you know what the next 90 days looks like for cash? Not what your bank balance says today, what it will be in 3 months based on what you know right now. If the answer to any of those is no, you don't have an accounting problem, you have a clarity problem. The bottom line, your accountant is not failing you because they're bad at accounting. They're failing you because accounting was never designed to answer the questions you're actually asking. What business owners really want is someone who thinks like a founder, not just like a CPA. Someone who looks at the numbers and tells them what they mean, not just what they are. Clean books keeps you compliant. Financial clarity, it keeps you in control. If you've been getting reports and still feel like you're guessing, this is why, and it's fixable. Subscribe for more on what financial leadership actually looks like for a service-based business owner. And if you're ready to stop guessing and start leading, the link below is where everything starts.